Hello and welcome back to my series of videos on the science of evolution. Or if this is your first time to my channel, I will simply say hello. My name is Tony B and I am using YouTube to put forward the scientific perspective on the continuing debate of evolution v creationism. As such, I have compiled a series of videos entitled The Science of Evolution. Please take time to view some of my other videos in this series, which cover subjects such as our relationship with Neanderthals, the evolution of the dog from wolf, the evidence for deep time, how carbon-14 works, and an explanation for redshift, etc., etc. However, this video that you are now watching is what I call a soundbite, a small diversion away from some of the main topics that I am covering. So, the missing link. Is there such a thing? After the publication of Darwin's work on the origin of species in 1859, there was a challenge from many areas of the religious community to provide evidence of the missing link between humans and apes. The challenge was that scientists had to show all the transitional changes between an ape-like creature to human, and therefore disprove the biblical story of Adam and Eve. This would mean illustrating a complete fossil record and showing a creature that was halfway through a transition between an ape and a human. Although we now have many fossils proving human evolution, and which I cover in other videos with supportive evidence from genetics, there is no way that our dear planet Earth was ever going to conserve every fossil of every living organism that ever lived, especially our human ancestors, who would have died without burial on the land surface and had their remains eaten by other animals or decayed by the weather and other natural processes. We are therefore fortunate to have the fossils that have been discovered, for which there are now enough to prove the evolutionary process. But on our journey, we have come to learn that evolution is not a linear process. Therefore, the so-called missing link, as proposed by 19th century religious believers, was simply an early misunderstanding of evolution. In this video, I simply want to show why there is no such thing as a missing link. This is an incorrect understanding of evolution. There is an incorrect belief from some creationists that evolution is linear, that scientists propose a species is just one model without variation that goes through a transitional process over time. There was a time when some people thought that Homo sapiens evolved from Neanderthals. However, just over 50,000 years ago, Homo sapiens coexisted with Neanderthals and other human genus groups such as Homo denisovans and Homo forensis. We coexisted with these groups. We did not evolve from them. We now know through modern genetic science that Neanderthals interbred with Homo sapiens and Homo denisovans. This means a sharing of genetic material, an exchange of traits. The result is that today, anyone born outside of the sub-Sahara region has between 1 to 4% Neanderthal DNA, and therefore has inherited some Neanderthal traits. Please view my video on our relationship with our Neanderthal cousins. Human evolution therefore has to be viewed as a branching process and not a linear process where one model simply replaces another. Scientists view the Homo heidelbergensis species that lived 700,000 years ago as a common ancestor to Neanderthals, Denisovans and Homo sapiens. However, despite these various twigs on this particular branch of the human evolutionary tree, only one living twig survives today, Homo sapiens. We have seen that just over 50,000 years ago, various homogeneous groups coexisted. But if we travel even further back in time, to say 600,000 years, then we find human ancestors such as Homo agaster, which is a chronospecies still existing alongside Homo naledi and Homo heidelbergensis. Even if we travel back in time to the period, say between 2 million and 3.9 million years ago, prior to the Homo genus, we find different variations of our predecessors, the Australopithecines. And in our studies of their fossils, we find that despite being part of the Australopithecine group, there were individual trait differences, as in their bipedalism and even jaw construction and teeth. This chart demonstrates a few of the species we have found via the fossil record, with dating methods applied to gain their ages of existence. As you can see, variations of our ancestors lived at the same time, in the same time periods. So, for example, we do not see Australopithecus dying out completely and being replaced by Homo habilis, just as we do not see Neanderthals dying out and being replaced by Homo sapiens. The rich genetic pool of diversity, which is the result of our family tree, from which we are the only surviving branch, persisted for millions of years through variations of hominin and humans that lived at the same time. This resulted in the passing on of various genetic traits that provided the mechanism for bipedal and cranial evolution. As noted, variations of Australopithecus and then the Homo genus lived at the same time. A build-up of selective genes that were advantageous to evolutionary survival were shared and passed on through a biological hereditary process. This process was still evident 50,000 years ago, when Homo sapiens coexisted and interbred with other human groups. Although there are many differences between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, we also know that due to interbreeding, there was an exchange of traits that remain with Homo sapiens today. Several Neanderthal genes involved in the immune system helps Homo sapiens to fight viruses and bacteria. This trait added to our success in evolution. A Neanderthal gene such as olfactory receptor 12D3 are important for the digestion of food. Humans that arrived from Africa were confronted with all types of new food. This gene from Neanderthals helped us adapt quickly to a new diet. As you can see, human evolution was not linear. As demonstrated by Neanderthals and Denisovans, one human ancestor did not simply go extinct and was replaced by a new and better model. Groups of human ancestors lived at the same time. They interbred and shared traits. These traits were added to the tree of diversity. Homo sapiens are the result of millions of years of mixing genetic traits between many variations of our human ancestors. And despite what some creationists might say, we do have a fossil record to support this branching evolution. Science has developed many different processes for dating matter, which allows us to give dates to our fossils. And this evidence is also supported with the evidence we have gathered from the science of genetics. And there you have it. There is no missing link. Therefore, the next time you debate a creationist who asks you to prove human evolution by showing them a half-human, half-ape-like creature, you can explain why that is a misunderstanding of evolution. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you can take the time to discover other videos in my main series of the science of evolution. For example, I am currently exploring the evidence for deep time And if you have ever wondered what redshift is, well, I have recently explained this in easy to follow steps. Thank you again. I wish you all good health and happiness. Goodbye for now.